So we're going to go to the end of our body element and create our script in there. This is good practice so that the script is only executed once all the body elements are loaded to the page. And rather than writing JavaScript code inside the script tags, just for clarity, we are going to create another file that we're going to call javascript.js. So this is a JavaScript file where we're going to be writing all our JavaScript code. Okay? And we need to link this file to the HTML file using the script source attribute. And it's going to go to javascript.js. Okay? Let's save all our files. Now, let's translate our game logic or process flow chart into JavaScript code. Again, inside an external JavaScript file, we only place JavaScript code in there. We don't write any script tags. So, I'm going to be writing comments so that we can build the structure of our code. So first of all, when we click on the Start Reset button, we have a couple of cases there. So we're going to check if we are playing or not. Okay. So if we are playing, then our button in that case is going to be a reset button, and we are going to reload the page. Okay. If we are not playing, then we are going to take a few actions. So first of all, we are going to show the countdown box. And then we are going to start reducing the time in loops. Okay. So we will reduce the time by 1 second every second. I'm going to do that in loops. And every time we do that, we are going to check if there is any time left. Okay. So if there is time left, we are going to continue. Otherwise, it is going to be game over. Okay? Another action we need to take is change the button text to reset. Or change button to reset. Okay? And also, we need to generate a new question and multiple answers. Okay. Now let's move to the other sequence when we click on an answer box. Okay, so if we click on an answer box, then we are going to check if we are playing or not. So if we are playing, then we are going to check if the answer is correct. Okay. So if yes, then we are going to take a few actions there. So we'll increase the score by 1. Okay. Also, we are going to show the correct box. For 1 second. And also we are going to generate new question and answers. If the answer is wrong, then we will just show the try again box for 1 second. All right. So this is more or less the structure of our code. So now we've got everything ready to start writing our code. Only one slight change before we continue. If we click on the start button and we're not playing yet, we'll need to set the score to 0. Okay, so let's just add that to our list of actions. Set score to 0. Okay, so now you have everything you need to start writing the code. All you need to do is translate all these lines into JavaScript code. So I strongly recommend that you stop the video now, you pause it here, and you try your best to finish the whole code on your own. Okay? If something doesn't work, just click on F12, check what the mistake is, okay? And then try again and keep going, keep trying until you get everything right. Okay? So F12 is going to give you something like this, and you can check your console. Okay? If there are any mistakes, they're going to show here. And then you can come back and start the video again from here, and you can compare what you have done with what I would have done, and then decide which method suits you best. Okay? But very important, you need to pause the video right now and do some work on your own. Hi again. I hope that you managed to build your own code and you got the game working at the end. Now, let's do this together. So, first of all, we need to tell the browser what to do when we click on the Start Reset button. So to do that, we are going to access the button using its ID. So if you remember, the ID of this button was Start Reset. Okay? So to do that, we are going to do document get elements by ID, and then we're using the ID of this button, which is Start Reset. Okay? And then the action here is clicking on the button, so we're going to use onClick. All right? And then after that, we are setting the function to execute once we click on the button. So it's going to be function, then parentheses, and then curly brackets where we're going to place the code of our function. Okay, so we need to check if we are playing. So we would need here a boolean or a variable that we can call playing, for example. And I'm going to set that at the beginning of the code. So this variable can be set to true or false. So at the beginning, when we load our page, the playing variable is going to be false. Okay? And in our code here, we are going to check if we are playing, okay? Which means that if playing equals true, then we are going to write some code there, okay? And if we are not playing, that's going to be else, then we're going to write some other code. Now, if we are playing and we click on the Start Reset button, our page is going to be reloaded, just like this. So, the syntax to reload the page using JavaScript is location.reload. Okay? So this is going to be reloading our page. Okay, if we are not playing, okay, and we click on the Start Reset button, then we are going to go through this list of actions. So first of all, we need to set the score to 0. So we don't have any variable at the moment for the score. We need one because the score is going to be a value that's going to keep changing during the game. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to define a variable. We're going to call it score, okay? And we're going to use this variable to change our score. So at the beginning, when the page is loaded, we don't need to give this variable any value, okay? Because once we start the game, we can set it to 0, okay? And also, when we finish the game and we want to start again, we can reset the score to 0 as well. Unlike the playing variable, which really needs to be set at the beginning of our code, because if we load the page and we don't give our playing variable any value, then we don't know whether we are playing or not, okay? And we need that condition to be known so that we know what to do when we click on the Start Reset button, okay? So now we are going to set our score to 0, okay? So the variable score is going to be set to 0. And also, we need to change this HTML element to 0. And if you remember, this element was a span of ID score value. Okay, so we're going to need to access this span using its ID and change the inner HTML to the value of the variable score. So to do that, we're going to use document gets elements by ID. Okay, so the ID is score value. Okay, and we're changing the inner HTML of this element to the score value. All right, now let's just add these comments inside our code to make our code well documented and easy to read. So the else statement corresponds to if we are not playing, okay? And the first action that we have taken there corresponds to setting the score to 0, okay? So the next action is going to show the countdown box. All right. So if we go to our index.html file, the countdown box has got an ID of time remaining. Okay. So it's this box there. Okay. So we're going to access this element using its ID. Okay. And then we are going to use the display property. Okay, so to access the display property, we need to use style and then display. So to show the elements, we're going to set display to block. Initially, the display property of this item was set to none. Okay, like that. Okay, so to show the item, we're going to change display to block. Okay. Okay, so if we save and try this, let's refresh our page and try. Now we can see our time box there. Okay, but it's not moving yet. Okay, because we haven't started reducing the time yet. Okay, so we have done this. That's done. Okay, moving on. The next action is to start the countdown. Okay, but let's just move to the next one because it's easier. So we want to change the button or the start reset button to reset. Okay, so what we're going to do, we want to change the inner HTML of this button to reset game. So to do that, we're going to use the ID of this button. If you remember, the ID of this button was start reset. Okay, so we are accessing the inner HTML of this element and we're going to be changing that to reset game. Okay, so let's save. And now if we click on the start game, we can see that our timing box appears and also we can see that text changes inside our button. And we can check that the score is working as well. So let's start with a score of 1 rather than 0. Let's save. And now if we click on start game, we can see that we start with a score of 1. We see our timing box and we can see that our button changed to Reset Game. Okay, so now we are in the playing mode. We are supposed to be in the playing mode. So if we click on Reset Game, we expect the page to reload, right? But it doesn't happen. The reason why is because once we went into the playing mode and showed all these elements, we didn't change the variable playing to true, and we are supposed to do that. So now, if we set playing to true, and then we try, so now we are in the playing mode. If we click on Reset Game, now the page is reloaded, okay? All right. Let's just add some space to our code so that it's easier to read. Okay. And let's add a comment there. And we want this call to start at 0. Okay. It looks better now. And we are ready to move to the next one. Okay. So we're going to go back to starting the countdown now. Okay. So we want to start the countdown, which means that our number here is going to decrease by 1 every second until 0 and then show a game over message.